My name is Spencer Homer, and I've been back for a year and 5 months.
My name is Jeff Civila, and I've been back from my mission for about 3.5 years.
I am Kyle Jorgensen. I've been home from my mission. Let's see, I got home in 2004, January 2004. So I've been home for a little while.
Almost 6 years.
Yeah, pushing 6 years.
In Mormon culture, I guess there are so many people getting married. It's almost like, at least in my house, it's almost like there's a constant flow of wedding invitations coming in, and there are people that are, that I've gone to high school with, or different things like that. And so people are always getting married just because it's something important, and it's something that we want to do. It's something that we want to take part in. But it's just, as far as timing goes, I think that's kind of the personal decision that you have to make. I mean, people will definitely mention it, maybe ask you, lightheartedly when you're going to get married or whatever. But it's definitely not, it's not something that you have to do right now. It's not something that you're pressured to do, and neither is a mission. You don't have to serve a mission. It's definitely your choice. It's something that you choose to do if you want to do it. So I think marriage is kind of the same. I think in the long run, if you look in the scriptures and things like that, it is more of a commandment to get married, just because it talks about like Adam and Eve, and how Adam, was able to cleave unto his wife and things like that, and they were one flesh, different things like that. And so that helped them to be able to progress together, kind of have two people married working toward the same goal. And so I think that's important, and it definitely is something that I want to do in the future, but I don't feel a necessity to do it right now, right this second. I don't feel the pressure of time, I guess.
Your entire mission, every half hour of your life is planned out. So I had like a little planagimento, my sheet that I would put in my pocket, fold up and put in my pocket every day, and it had every 30 minutes of your day from 9:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night planned out. That, was nice to be a sort of in practice for 2 years, and then come back. You kind of expect life to be this really organized thing, when really, like, you don't have one of those little sheets, to tell you what you have to do. But I definitely planned, I didn't really make it, like, I didn't write it down as a goal, but I kind of told myself, it'd be nice to be married by the time I'm 23. There's definitely a little bit more pressure to get married. There's like this importance of getting married, and so you're not a deviant or something. I think it comes with the territory of living in an LDS community. If I had lived, maybe not in Idaho and Utah, where there's a large LDS population, that wouldn't be quite as present or prevalent. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure to get married, and because of this pressure that we've created, like the monthly magazines that we get. Seems like for the last couple of years, there's always an article on like being single and like coping with being single. Yeah, especially now. I've been home for almost 6 years, and you're not married. What's going on? What have you done wrong? Like you must be some sort of sinner or something because you're not married. And I think people sort of think that after a while, like, man, what's wrong with him? Why is he not married? Brigham Young, the second prophet of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who came across the plains with all the pioneers and sort of settled in Salt Lake, he said that, if you're 25 and you're not married, then you're a menace to society.
I've never felt a lot of pressure. Like people, do say that I need to get married, I'm getting older, but that's not too big of a pressure on me. Maybe a little bit of internal pressure, but just because I know that that's what I want to do, is get married eventually.
So I asked her last night at her graduation prom, and she said yes. We're going to be married in August.
Wow, married? But she's just finishing high school, and you still have 2 years at the university. That's a tough road, Larry. What are you going to use for money?
Well, Sue's folks were going to pay something to put her in junior college here in town for 2 years. So we'll have that. But instead of going to college, she'll get a full-time job in campus town. Say she doesn't care anymore about education. So with that and my part-time job, we'll get by.
When I first got off my mission, you know, how moms can be, my mom was always like, hold off, you know, get your education first before you get married, you know, so you can support her. But, you know, it never really was too big on my priorities to necessarily finish school or have a solid career before I got married. It's just kind of the way it's worked out.
I just feel like right now I should be focusing on getting an education and being able to have a career. So I think that's huge. It's really a personal decision.
You know, I have all this time to focus on school, and it's very, you know, it's very selfish thing, I suppose, or introverted, whatever, to just focus on yourself. But, you know, I've been able to travel. Just dating in general, you know, I've been able to date different people and get to know different people, which I imagine, you know, their influence has changed me in some way, maybe, you know, big or small. But you know, I think by being single for so long, there's been a lot of positive things. You know, I've been able to do a lot for myself and maybe for other people as well. You know, I've been able to make friendships that I probably, you know, socially, you're by yourself, so you're always sort of doing your thing and hanging out with your friends and having those experiences and playing music. You know, if I had a wife, I doubt I'd be playing my guitar as much as I do, or playing the drums in the basement as much as I do. Maybe if she was cool enough, I don't know. Maybe that's why I haven't found one.
Say, I'll bet we could get some advice from the marriage counselor over at the church.
As far as being an RM, here at Idaho State University, we have the Institute as well, so they definitely try to do everything they can to get people together and married, and you know, so there's plenty of opportunity too, and I think that's why, you know, like, people don't understand why it doesn't happen. You know, there's so many opportunities. There's the Institute, and they have these cheesy dances all the time, and like, and you know, you can go to class and sit next to girls and stuff, and you know, you're getting an education as well. There's a large LDS population here. So, and at BYU, Idaho, just north of us here, and at Provo, and you know, the Utah schools that have, you know, fairly large LDS populations. It's like, well, it's not like you don't have a lot of options or whatever. There are plenty of fish in the sea where you're at. So it's kind of funny when you also get that sort of weird look when, you know, like, well, why can't you get married? There's plenty of girls out there. You know, your mission president is kind of your father, you know, the guy that takes care of like 200 or plus missionaries in an area. He kind of, you know, like, you have a couple weeks of like preparation to return to normal life.
But tell me, how do you know it's real love, the kind you can get married on?
People are, you know, 21, or, you know, in the girl's case, she's like 18 or 19. You know, and this returned missionary comes home gung-ho to get married, and, you know, the first girl he kind of meets, fall in love, get married, and realize, wow, I have a lot of growing up to do, or it's not what, you know, it's not a fairy tale.
2 separate studies showed the chance for happiness improves with a longer engagement period. It's fair for 6 months, better for a year or 2 years.
Is that because there's a better chance to find out some of these differences and become real friends?
Yes, a chance to find out if your relationship will wear well.
And every returned missionary chooses differently. There's some that choose to get married almost immediately when they get home. They walk off the plane and meet their girlfriend and ask them to marry them or whatever. And so it definitely happens different ways, and then some people wait a while. So it just depends.
Well, I've seen it both ways. Like, some people do decide to hold off and, you know, postpone marriage to become financially stable. And I don't know if I necessarily, you know, have an opinion either way, whether one is better or not. I also know people that have gotten married a week after their mission, which is kind of crazy to me.
You wouldn't try to plan and build a house in 3 months, would you?